Okay, now, if the leaders abdicate, because in every community, in every human settlement, the vacuum will never be allowed. If the leaders have abdicated this, what you have just said, this, pathfinding role, then why won't followership take up that challenge?
The option that the followership has is a dangerous option. People have talked about revolution and all of that. I don't want to talk about it. It's scary. Even though Nigerian followership has also been muzzled, they are hungry, though they are angry, but have no power to fight. They are still muzzled. But there are ways that someday, we know what happened a few years ago when we said occupy in Nigeria. We know the power of that. That could easily be reorganized. I don't want to go that way. We don't need that revolution, anymore. We need revolutionary leadership. Let the revolution be on the side of leadership, where people can say, instead of me seeing the oil blocks of this country being shared in private hands, instead of me seeing the wealth we get from revenue of oil revenue and all of other parts being wasted, because if you look at what goes on, I don't want to talk about NNPC here. I mean, it's not within now.
Yes.
But if you look at the way our oil revenue is managed, you feel sorry for this country. I can put you through under arithmetic. You may not like it, but
no.
if you look at the oil price,
yes.
Let me take you through a simple arithmetic to let you know that there's so much injustice in this economy.
Okay.
If you are into production, I know we run expenses to produce revenue.
Yes.
Okay. But what about an economy where a potential revenue of 11 trillion naira results in only about 3.5 trillion of revenue coming to government? How do I mean? That's the right question.
Yes.
What's oil price in the international market today? About 110
to 120, 115
dollars. How much do we export? In theory, in practice, it may be more every day. 2.3 million barrels per day of oil in this country. Okay, it means in a year you will have 2.3 million dollars times 35 days.
Yes.
Multiply that by yourself. Multiply that with $110 price of oil. Okay, and then multiply that by about 160 naira per dollar. It will give you nothing less than 10 trillion naira. But what we have reported to us as oil revenue in our budget is not up to 4 trillion naira. The rest come from the revenue, tax revenue. The oil revenue is not up to 4 trillion.
So
the rest of about 7-8 trillion could be termed as operational expenditure. We need to know more about this.
Now, but the question therefore has been that for a long time, the informed, who are also Nigerians, who seem to always capitulate anytime they have a chance to query or to question, some of these reports that we are getting. Because we have asked a question now. Tomorrow, if you become suddenly the PA to the minister, what happens? Would that question still be asked?
You mean me?
No, I'm just asking.
Okay.
This is rhetorical.
That's what I'm saying. We need people who are willing to sacrifice for this country, who are willing to work for this country sincerely, who are willing to say the truth. Even though in saying the truth, you may not want to scatter the polity. Like some people said, the now His Royal Majesty or His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano, he's a man I have come to admire his confidence. Whatever imperfections he has, nobody's perfect.
Yes, a human being.
But I admire the confidence of that man called Alhaji Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, now His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano. Not because he's perfect, not because I like some of his other maybe religious or whatever positions,
activities, yes.
But in terms of his level of confidence in expressing his displeasure,
with the way things are being managed.
I think he's the kind of person I want to emulate. People must be confident and be willing to lose their exalted position, whether as a minister or as an aide to the minister or even as a president, to lose that position for the good of this nation. That's why there is dearth of sense of citizenship. What we have in Nigeria is sense of tribe.
Yes, ethnicism.
We all belong to our tribes and ethnic group first of all, before we talk about whether we belong to Nigeria or not. There's no patriotism, true patriotism, no sense of citizenship. Otherwise, people can stand up to say this is not the way Nigeria will get better. And I can tell you the way we are still fighting, how to appropriate leadership to ourselves, south, northeast, northwest. If we continue that way, this country is better not together. than being together.
That is another
If we are
issue.
going to be together, we must be together from a sense of commitment
That
and
we are all
devotion
part of this
to the
environment.
good of this nation.
Now, that is another issue that we have had guests who have actually said on this show, that it would appear as if we are forced to be in a marriage, and therefore maybe it is high time that marriage is dissolved. You want to agree with that kind of...
I don't want to totally agree with that. Once you get married, I'm one of those who believe that once you get married, you've got
You
married.
stay in it.
And the tendency is that usually the grass is greener on the other side. When you are in your marriage, you always think it's better in the other person's house. But you don't know
Until you get there.
that beautiful thing you see is managed with a lot of endurance, tolerance, forbearance, forgiveness, justice and fairness, and all of that. There are many nations today, America and the rest of them, that also have a multiplicity of nations within them, multiplicity of people, tribes within them, but they are still existing. In India or China, you have more than 1.2 billion, even if they are the same tribe. I can assure you, it's a huge number to cause confusion, to disagree, to be one. But they're still one. Nigeria, how many are we? Only about 170 million people are at
So we
best.
can do better.
We can have millions of tribes, quite all right. But if we have strong leadership who is fair and just to everybody and who insists on the best being given to this country, it's not a big deal being together as a country.
Okay,
We can
in spite of our diversity.
We can make that diversity a strength to us instead of a weakness.
Okay, now let's come to the back end of this.
Okay.
Leadership on the front will seem to have failed the country. Leadership from the back, the followers, the younger
We're also
generation,
failing.
we are already failing.
We're
So,
failing.
so how would what you are doing begin to correct some of these things? Because it's like we're in perpetuity now. The front end is collapsed, the back end is not waking up to it. So what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's a big problem. That's why, part of what, I run a firm. It may not be right in your...
No, you cannot talk about your firm.
Yeah,
but
I
you
run a
can
firm,
talk
but
about...
what I'm saying is that the project, part of the project I intend to undertake over time will be to take these leadership lessons to young people at the secondary school, primary school level. Not that we have lost hope with the elderly ones, but while we see how we can get that leader, because it can be fixed. Though it may be harder to fix elderly people than the young people.
I like that. That is hopeful.
Yeah.
So the problems can be fixed.
Can be fixed. If you have a leader who decides that no hint of corruption in my government, no hint of personal aggrandizement in my government, no hint of insult in my government. People must do their jobs diligently. You must come to work at a particular time in the morning, do your work, and you must not carry about so many aides traveling. Things must be streamlined. We cut down the government, a radical leader. It mustn't be a military man. Because people are already saying we're better off again with military. I can assure you that even the best military regime will do worse damage, worse danger
to the psyche of, yes.
Even if we think that they are giving us PTF and they built hospital and all of that, the psyche, the governmental development and the
democratic
culture will not be there. So we're better off with a democratic structure that is growing
and learning.
If we see and learning, but for how long will we? The problem is that we have learned for too long. From 1999 to date, it's about 15 years of democratic structure. How much have we learned through our mistakes? How much of politicking have we dropped to replace it with leadership? How many quality people do we have going for elective positions? In a place like Akwa Ibom, people have been dying every other day out of political killings. APC and PDP cannot see eye to eye. That's not healthy. I support strong opposition, and it must be based on maturity and wisdom. Ideology. We must not be fighting and see how Kitty played out. People could not cross, visit to any rally again because there's danger. That it's do or die, and it's not the idea.
But that question should be coming to you, Orji, because now the issue will be that the break in the way we communicate, the break in the way that we interrelate, the break in the way that the younger generation begins to understand the political space may be the reason for some of these evils that which you have identified now seem to just continue to be part of our equation.
Our culture. Like I said, it's just that issue of selfish interest being promoted above the national interest. It's for me, I don't know how else to put it. But I think we need a president who really will come and begin to dismantle all the equations that exist in this, because the equations are not working for us. We need somebody who can dismantle the structure the way they are. Whether he's going to say, let's go on a regional level, let's make the center unattractive. If you're the president, you have come to serve. You don't have so much money. You're not going to be calling FAC meeting every month and be doling out you. I give you this. You, because I don't like your face, I will not give you your own until next month and all of that. We don't need that anymore. We need people to take their destiny in their hands, whether they are at the local government level or the family level or the state level or at any level at all. So we can get the best out of our people in this country. Nigeria has one of the highest quality of human capital in this world. But that human capital becomes useless within the boundaries of Nigeria, and they become excellent outside the boundaries of Nigeria.